Yeah. Yeah, that's a thing.
Working for
It's
me.
working for us. Hi, everybody in the Star Wars CCG world.
Now I think I got it.
Welcome to Holotheatre with Batmouse and Kendall.
Can you guys hear me? How have we got that fixed?
Can you guys hear?
Okay.
Can you guys hear Robbie?
All right. So through with some technical difficulties, let's get Holotheatre started this week. As you can
Ooh.
see, I'm joined here with Kendall as my co-host and Batmouse as our star guest, I guess, for the weekend. The World's 2021 consolation winner, somehow. Somehow.
Somehow.
Nice.
I don't know how you beat Ryan, but I guess you did.
I Googling at 5-1. I got Ryan at 5-1, and then I had 2 4-2s. Strength of schedule. Let's go.
There you go. That'll do it. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get everything kicked off this week.
I feel like Batmouse winning the consolation tournament just feels right.
Well, I mean, there was the team event champions that said stop Batmouse Gold that apparently didn't show up on Sunday. So
Batmouse and I played in the team tournament. My court versus his Watch Your Step, and I got there. That was the one tournament that we did okay.
yeah, I was gonna say Court versus Watch Your Step should be in Court's favor, but
yeah. Well, to be fair, my other 2 matchups were both mains, and I still got there. So
well, that's good.
Yeah, against
Good
Taco
job.
Bill and Yoshi. So, which you can hear more about on my Worlds podcast.
Yes, which he posted on the forums. It's under the content creation group, and then you'll see Worlds 2021 special.
Yep.
This is what you grabbed from, what was it, 30 some odd people?
I think it ended up at 21 people.
21.
I went around bugging people at Worlds, asking them 3 questions. Forget what they were. What was it? Biggest impact Star Wars CCG has had on your life. Best advice you received about Star Wars CCG that you didn't take, and a card that you weren't able to fit into your decks Worlds weekend that you wish you could have played. And yeah, I got both of you. Both of you guys were included, and yeah, I think it was about 19 other people. And then those were interspersed with a little tournament report of about my very, very poor performance at the event. But I did good at the team event.
Yeah. I struggled on that. What's the best advice question that you received and you haven't taken? Most of the time, like I said, I just shut up and listen to people. I wish I would have on day 2 and not played the Shadow Collective, but Chris Kelly was kind enough to send me a foiled out Shadow Collective, so I kind of had to run with that one there. Didn't really have much choice, you know.
Yeah,
you got to play it.
You made it to day 2, which once you get there, like, I mean, you can win or lose, you still made top 8. Like,
right. Well, and
you can't complain about that.
I did wonder if some people might have switched to Yavin 4 Ops that day just because of how well it did the day before. And if that happened, Shadow Collective is, with Search and Destroy, just crushes them. So, I took a chance on that and then got matched up against basically my roommate at the event. And, so he wasn't playing that, and I just lost all desire to play at that point. It sucks when you get matched up against, those people that you room with and everything. So especially
Your
when there's
teammate.
especially when it's only a 33% chance of it happening. But
yeah, well, I guess you should have just gotten your own room.
Yeah, no, theirs are expensive. I'm very cheap.
Believe me, I know.
So, but yeah, everybody should go check out that podcast. There's a lot of people on there. It's not just random folks Kendall found. I know Joe Olson participated. I think did Hayes participate, or did he
So Hayes,
want to and missed
funny
out.
story about Hayes. So I totally intended to ask him the questions, and I talked to him at the event, but it was like in between rounds, and I was a little bit more focused on trying to play than doing it. And then the one time that he actually approached me to get the 3 questions, I had timed out in my previous round and was just running to the restroom really fast.
Yeah.
Needed to run back, so I didn't have time to get the 3 questions from him.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of people. I don't know, from Minnesota randoms to world champions and everybody in between. I got a good assortment of that. You can find that on the content creation. You can also go to kendallcast.ninja, my website, and find it there. And the Bad Deck Breakdowns podcast feed on Apple and Stitcher and forget what's the other one called. The other one that starts with an S that I always forget, that I always get mixed up. Spotify.
Oh,
I think we're on Stitcher and Spotify, and Amazon and all the places theoretically. Bad Deck Breakdowns. Also, new episode of Bad Deck Breakdowns just dropped a couple hours ago. So,
yeah.
The Trooper Beatdown deck from David Woods.
Okay. Yeah. So, everybody go check out Kendall's podcast. He does a lot of great work with them, and they're fun to listen to. So, next thing, real quick, I wanted to plug were the wonderful articles that Jared and the marketing team have created for the Worlds recap and then the OCS upcoming playoffs and everything. Let me see if I can figure out how to get these over. Here we go. So here's the recap for the World Championship. Like I said, it's well done. There's plenty of pictures, plenty of information about the whole weekend in here. Some of the prize support, the fancy cake that we got. It kind of talks about pretty much everything.
Cake Quitter.
Huh?
Cake Quitter.
Yeah. Yeah, the
That's
Cake
what I'm
Quitter.
going to call it.
The Grand
Cake Quitter.
Well, it's the Grandin Cake Quitter. Man, that's hard to say.
Provided by Jeff Johns, right?
Yes, provided by Jeffrey Johns, who does lots of art for the community. He hands them out for free at every event that we go to. He's got lots and lots of art that he does, and he does it just for basically us in the community, and it's really, really nice of him to do. He definitely tried to surprise us with the cake. Unfortunately, I got there a little early and saw what was happening, but somebody had to open the door to the game room. So, there's the article for that, and then they also knocked out a article about the OCS playoffs. You can see it here where they go through and write up what happened throughout the year, the matchups that are coming up, how people qualified, all that kind of stuff. You can find both these articles off of the StarWarsCCG.org homepage. It's a great reason to actually go to the homepage instead of going to the forums like we do for everything. Everybody should go check those out and, give them a read. I know Jared is working on them, going forward for a lot of the events. This should be a staple that we see. And they were, in my opinion, well done. Lots of great content. It looked very professional, which is, impressive how much we continue to grow the game and the community even all these years later from little things like that. So, everybody should go check those out. Great job by those guys on it. And that kind of takes us into talking about the OCS playoffs. So we have the top 16 set. The draft was last weekend. We've got the matchups of Paul Myers versus Chris Worse, Brian Fred versus Justin Branch, Drew L, because I don't want to butcher his last name, versus Gavin. I don't know Gavin's last name.
Gavin Ortland.
Okay. Bastion, who will just be Bastion, because if I can't pronounce Drew's last name, I'm not going to try Bastion's last name. Versus Joe Olson. And then Timo versus Chris Hull. Uh, those games are all scheduled right now. Paul Myers and Worst are Sunday, October 24th, so this Sunday, 10 p.m. Eastern, and then Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Brian Fred and Justin Branch are Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern and Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Drew versus Gavin is Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern and Thursday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Bastion and Joe are Thursday at 1 and Friday at 1. And Timo versus Chris are Thursday 10:28 at 3 p.m. for both games, likely. And then we also have Justin Desai versus Connor Britton, Charlie Arlinson versus Tom. I don't remember what Tom's last name is, Batmouse. I know you know.
Tom Hayde.
No, it's not Tom Hayde.
It's not Hayde. Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's
Jim Tom is Tom Struthers.
Tom Struthers. There you go. And then MHT versus Brad. So yeah, this will be quite a loaded week, and hopefully we can get a lot of these games streamed here on Twitch TV /SWCCGPC. Not sure how many of these we'll get.
Is it just SWCCG?
PC at the end.
It is PC?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess you would know better than me.
Should be.
I subscribed to it once a million years ago and check it out.
That was long ago.
I set it up.
Man, why did Timo and Joker King have to play each other in the first?
Because that's what Timo
playoff.
Yeah, Timo picked that, and
Timo's a jerk.
Yeah, well,
that means that I have to root against him.
Well, Bastion took Joe, who Timo wanted to play in the first round.
Okay.
And then since Bastion had a higher pick, so I think Timo picked fourth.
Right.
Yeah.
He's seated fourth.
And he went after Chris first instead of anybody else. But yeah, he definitely had called out Joe, and then Bastion took him as the number 2 seed. Part of me wonders if Bastion took Joe as the 2 seed to make Joe the 15 seed for the event for a change, instead of being closer to the top. But that'll be a great match. Hopefully we get that one streamed. Hopefully somebody can do it. I don't know if Dan will be able to, but I'll be working, so I won't be able to. But that'll be a great game to stream. There's going to be lots of great games. I think they have just this week and next week to get the games done. They have to be done by Halloween. And then the top 8 will be November 1st through November 9th. The top 4 will be November 10th through the 23rd. And then the finals should be between the 27th and December 5th. Now, as anybody who's played online knows, the top cuts tend to get a little bit of flexibility with it, just because it's sometimes hard to schedule games, especially across overseas and things like that. So, and especially with Thanksgiving falling in the middle of this kind of thing too. So there will probably be a little bit of flexibility. Some of this might go out a little bit longer, but the game should be done by Christmas, I would imagine, before we even get close to that. So yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on these matchups?
Well, I'm mad that Dylan's playing Joker King. That's my biggest thing, because those are the 2 people I want to root for, and if they're playing against each other, I have to root against Dylan, and I don't like rooting against Dylan, because Joker King's on my team. But also, I think Joker King's got him.
That'll be a good matchup, I think. It'll
be good. Yeah, it'll be good. They went up against each other in the finals of the NPC, right?
I believe so.
Batmouse
would know that one.
Yeah, I believe they were the final of this year's GemPC, and they've both been involved in the GemPC for multiple years. And speaking of the GemPC, so how we have that Christmas break coming up.
Oh, are you gonna?
Maybe there's a sign up. Maybe there's a 6th GemPC coming. So maybe look for that coming November sign-ups, and then we'll get that rolling and hopefully get GemPC wrapped up before the NPC in January.
Although
that's also
that's a little hard just because of how many rounds it can take to get to there. It's usually 6 rounds, so 6 weeks,
That mouse
give
is
or
a
take.
pro. He'll figure it out.
I'll figure it out. We have the OCS happening right now. So and then we have the Jawa Cup coming up.
And the Outrider Cup.
Everyone else is in the Outrider Cup, but all of us that aren't participating in the Outrider Cup, for those of us that will have one game a week to play in the Jawa Cup, let's squeeze some more games in there. Let's squeeze some match play in there.
Right.
Put some
Especially
more Star Wars on the board.
especially with the new sets coming out, before the NPC. So the more games we get that have some sort of meeting between now and then, the more we can figure out the meta before the NPC, and it's not just Joe Olsen knows the meta and we're all sitting there trying. Joe Olsen and the new allies know the meta, and none of us else do. So, yeah, I mean, that matchup, I think Timo versus Chris is going to be really, really good to watch. I think Connor versus Desai will be a great matchup to watch too. I don't really see any really bad matchups. I don't think the bracket has been taken down, so I can't go see everybody's brackets yet. Maybe we can do that next week instead. But
So I think looking at Paul, the one that's jumping out at me is Paul Myers versus Werfs, because I feel like those are two like polar opposite players. Like Werfs is like this like kind of old timer elder statesman of the game. Very he's known for some great success in real world events, and then Paul Myers is this up and comer, who has never, to my knowledge, has never touched a physical card. So that's that very sort of two obviously successful players who maybe approach the game with different with a different attitude. It'll be really interesting to see how that goes.
Well, Paul
different
did
schools.
play back in the day in person. He was at 2001 Freedom Con, and that's why everybody wants him to pick Brian Fred, because they had a little bit of a argument or misunderstanding there. And so B-Fred and him, B-Fred really wanted him to pick him, and Paul chose Werfs. I assume because Werfs didn't play as well against everybody else in the OCS this year, but I mean, to me, Werfs is he can beat anybody, at any given time. So, it's definitely not an easy game for Paul to have picked first.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he wins and Brian Fred beats Silver Glen, then they'll face in the next round.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I was gonna pick that, but I picked Werfs with the upset just because I believe in Werfs. So
me too. Yeah, Paul Myers is like I said. I think of him as an up and comer. I mean, maybe he played in the past, but it's not a name that I knew before the last year or so.
He took a lot of time off. He didn't really come back until after GIMP had, I think, really been almost programmed fully. Mm-hmm. And then he came back and started playing in events, and he gets really good at a couple decks and does really well with them. And he doesn't make a lot of obvious mistakes that people can take advantage of. And, Werfs, I don't really think does either. So it'll be a good matchup for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Werfs. Also, I think Werfs plays a little bit more unpredictable decks, and I just, if Paul Myers is the type of player, I haven't really, I don't know what I'm talking about. I just am the guy with the microphone that said I could be here because Dan wasn't here. But I mean, I think of Paul Myers as like an up and comer, kind of focused on learning the meta is now, learning what his decks can do against the current decks. Where Chris Werfs, he could come and he'll play a Rops Mains deck and a Lightside Pod Racing Shield Bus deck, and just like throw him off, and then not make any mistakes because maybe he's playing a deck that is objectively worse than something else, or not a perfect meta call, but then just not make any mistakes. I don't know. Chris Wirfs is somebody that I really look up to as a player and have a lot of respect for. So yeah, I would pick him in that matchup as well.
I had a lot of respect for him until he decided to cheat at Liar's Dice at Worlds. But other than that, yeah, Chris Wirfs is a really good guy, except for the cheating.
Isn't it called Liar's Dice?
I saw no cheating, and I was at the table right behind all of you.
Yeah, that's why you had your back turned.
I love that picture. I love that picture of Batmouse sitting alone at the table, and then everybody else is at the other table. It makes you look very powerful, Batmouse.
Yeah. But yeah, Wirfs also plays really fast, and Paul plays very methodically. Is the nicer way to put it, I guess.
So you could play a grindy matchup,
right?
And then just time out. That's a good plan.
Yeah, I mean, if Wirfs plays something like Rops, Wirfs can play it fast enough to, not worry about his time, but then that puts something of a clock on Paul to have to be able to make reasonable decisions and play within that clock. It's one of the things that GIMP does that, online or in real life play does not do. I mean, we don't have chess clocks at the table to press and go, okay, it's your turn. We just have an hour to finish our games, and, it makes it a little bit easier to, or it makes it harder to time somebody out, when you're doing that versus, on GIMP where they have their own clock. So.
Right. Yeah. Oh man, I timed out so many times at Worlds, and I don't feel like it was like there were a couple of them where I would have blamed my opponent, but I didn't feel like either of us. There were some games that I didn't feel like either of us were playing that slow, but it's like the game takes 70 minutes now.
Right. I had 2 games go to time, but they were pretty much decided before that last turn anyway. We just went to time, and then they both ended up scooping to me. But it was one scoop to me, and then I conceded to Shaw.
You were playing top tables. Maybe I was just playing.
No, actually, I wasn't.
Just had too chatty of opponents.
I started 1 and 2, so I was down at the bottom.
You started right next to me.
Yeah, I had to play Taco Bill at the 1-2 tables at table 20 something. But
so I lost my first game, and I don't think I was above table 27 for the rest of the day.
Okay, yeah, I think the lowest I dropped was 25, maybe.
I think the table 18, 20, 21 maybe 22.
Yeah, no,
I had multiple games at table 30.
Yeah, I lost my first game, and then won the second one down at the lower ends of the tables, got back up to where I was against Shaw in the first round, dropped back down to face Bill, and then slowly rose up through the tables. But yeah, the 2 games I had were the WAP versus CCT, and those are grindy games because of scum and just the positioning anyway. But we went to time, and the game was pretty much done at that point anyway, so we just moved on. I know a lot of people had games go to time though, and I don't know if it was just matchups or in-person play versus GIMP play sort of thing. So
yeah, I don't know. I feel like
everyone had a little bit of rust on them.
Yeah,
maybe.
Had a little bit of rest from being away from actual in
I know that I played horribly. At one point, my opponent pulled aim high for me in one of the CCT games.
Was it Joe Olsen that pulled your aim high? Because that would be
no. It was Sam. It was Yoshi.
Oh, okay.
I had missed the pull, a bunch of times. And he's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just pull your aim high for you. There you go. Okay, I'll pay 1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was asking if it was Joe that did it, just because, Kessling probably could have pulled Joe's aim high way back when last year during Texas Mini Worlds, but, Joe was not going to pull that aim high shield. I guess he didn't want to be shield busted. So, but yeah, I think that's the OCS top 16. We've got some good games. We'll be able to do probably a decent recap of them next week, and we'll actually have the brackets posted by then, hopefully. So now let's go to the Jawa Cup, as Batmouse alluded to earlier. That is for everybody not in the OCS playoffs or in the Outrider Cup, which I think there's only 8-9 names right now that are in the Outrider Cup for sure. And then there's some wild cards and some things that could happen. But it's pretty much
regionals
open.
And leagues.
Well, it's mostly OCS based information.
Yes, because it's 16 points.
Right. So
that'll finish it.
That'll have some effect on it. But since Jawa Cup starts earlier, there are, some players that might end up getting to play in both, I guess, just because of the captain's picks and wild cards.
Yeah.
And I know they just came out with a new ban list. I will post that on the screen real quick and let you talk about it since you're on the Jawa Council.
So I can't speak of all of our rituals because we do convene in the Jawa Utini Temple, also known as the Slack channel, and for the Jawa Council. And I was gonna write out a whole thing on this, and I just didn't have time today to. I even called in sick from work and all I had to do was write out a list of made up rituals, and I just couldn't think of any.
Well, that explains to me why at 4:00 you were messaging me going, I might start drinking. And I was going, man, that's a little early. I figure he's got to drive home first and whatnot. But okay, now it makes sense.
So that was your 4:00. It was my 5:00.
Sure, but
yes,
I figured you still had to commute home or something. But yeah.
No, I work from home.
Oh, okay.
Freaking camera made me blurry again. All right, I'll stand perfectly still so it doesn't make me blurry again. No, so we looked at the most popular decks from Worlds. We always start with the 5 most popular platforms and then kind of go from there. We weren't sure. I think we were at one point we were going to do the 5 most popular plus Shadow Collective and Old Allies. But it just looking at it, for me, it's a gut thing. Like, usually you can look at the most popular platforms and you can kind of draw a line. It's like, these are the ones that everybody was playing, and then this is just like the next most popular thing that, because however many people, I forget how many people played like Diplo and Hunt. I think it was Diplo and Hunt Down were the 2 that were the 5th most popular. And it was like, those are clearly not decks that define the meta. The way that communing, I mean, it was Yoda communing, it was Qui-Gon communing, it was Yavin 4 Ops, it was Let the Wookiee Win. Like, those were clearly the top 4 light side decks, and then the corresponding dark side decks. And
me and Batmouse
so you
played
have
neither.
them in front of you. I don't have them in front of me.
We played none of them.
Yeah.
I played QMC.
Right.
And then my own homebrew of the Maul deck.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised.
Yeah.
That Maul wasn't one of the cards that got the chop this time around.
That's interesting to ban Maul instead of Shadow Collective. I don't think that that's something that we might do in the future, but I haven't seen the Maul start decks. Like, I just haven't seen that many of them. But that's something that we could have done, like we did with Scum and Villainy. Yeah,
I mean, right now it hasn't. Last year, I think a lot of people were trying it, but then going into this meta, I think most people were on the CCT map and Brigham stuff that you guys ended up hitting.
Yeah, CCT map, Bring Before Me, ISB.
And ISB.
I feel like ISB is probably like a pretty big drop off. Like, we could have just done CCT map and Bring Before Me, But one, you want the same amount on each side if you can, and also nobody likes ISB.
I was gonna say if you get rid of the other three, ISB jumps to the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with Court not being on there, Court already kind of jumps up to that top level, as this is what a lot of people will probably end up playing.
Yeah.
So.
Which we considered doing Scum, but the problem is if you ban Scum, then you also ban My Kind of Scum, which is a deck that has a lot of it's like built for the Jawa format. Right. I mean, it's literally the deck that you play Jawas in. And I mean, Court's going to jump to there's always going to be a deck. The next, there's always going to be a next best deck.
Right.
I think that Court, where we're at, actually, since we didn't ban Scum and we also didn't ban This Deal Is Getting Worse All the Time or the Admiral's Order, which we did consider. I felt like I was crazy wanting to ban an Admiral's Order, but I guess that's what that makes that deck work. But having both of them legal, since they both have their own strengths and weaknesses, as both of those rising to the top for Dark Side, it actually kind of muddles things. So it won't be all Court or all Walker Deal. You'll have kind of two obvious choices, and then hopefully. The spirit of the Jawa format and the Jawa Cup is a little bit more competitive than the other Jawa events that I've run. But still, the spirit of the Jawa format is we cut off the top. We cut off the top of the mountain. There are all these other options. Right. Get creative. Play a deck that you can't play in open. You can play This Deal Is Getting Worse All the Time in open. You can play Court in open. I mean. Or you can't play Court in open because it's not good in open right now because of communing and everything.
Right.
So let's give it a home.
Right.
That's unfortunately I sometimes get a little tunnel vision with my stuff, but I love playing Court, and so I love having a format that it's good in.
Yeah, and I never loved playing it, but. I think the deck is fine. I mean, it'd be nice to see again, since it kind of falls out of any meta where you have, mains dropping Luke and whatnot to your audience chamber turn one, and then you're in a downhill fight from there. So. And I mean,
Throne Room is legal.
Right.
It's not as good as communing.
Right.
But there are still you can still play Throne Room. You can still play Hoth mains. You could probably we banned Like My Father Before Me, so you could probably do some. You could do some weird Wookiees deck or something. Something with Let the Wookiee Win or a Hitco with a Luke that deploys for 5 or whatever. Like there are certainly options to play mains. It's just that they're not. Right. It's just that they're not the top decks. They're not the top mains decks in open. Well, you can play Hoth CRV.
Right. One thing
CPV.
I would have liked to have seen maybe instead of Like My Father would have been to ban Jedi Knight Luke, just because Like My Father then has to be played with Rebel Scout, which I think fits more into the Jawa theme itself as well. But that can be done in the future.
But I can't play Abyss. Then I can't play Abyss, and you've just destroyed an entire card from my deck, Robbie.
That's good.
I've pushed. I have a little bit behind the scenes. There have been a couple times where I pushed for just for the fun of it, not even for competitive balance reasons, but banning Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, and Emperor Palpatine. I think that would. Banning those two cards would shake things up, and it also just would. I used to be a new player, and now I'm a bad player, and losing to a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight that draws a Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight for Destiny, or losing to a Dark Side deck that draws like 5 Emperors in a row for Destiny, is one of the more feel bad moments for a bad Star Wars card player. And so, I wouldn't mind at some point in the future banning those. That's actually an interesting idea to specifically, if we're targeting a Like My Father Before Me deck,
Right.
to ban Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, because I mean, Luke Rebel Scout is one of those, it's a really good card, but it doesn't see play because that drawing a 6 is better than causing a redraw a lot of times.
Right.
Would you get Old Man Luke instead there? You know what I mean?
Maybe
you get Old Man Luke.
He doesn't,
because that's still a 4.
Right. I mean, and he doesn't get.
You don't get the benefits
right.
of Like My Father Before Me with Old Man Luke.
I mean, you get some of them, but
lightsaber.
You still get the lightsaber, but you don't get to. It doesn't change his deploy cost, but
deploy cost is cheaper anyway.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. But yeah, I think that I definitely think you guys did a great job with the band so far. I know it's kind of in testing format right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Anybody watching, play games. If you think that one of the decks that we didn't ban needs to be banned, then play games in the format and send us some data or anecdotal data or something, something a little bit more than just gut reaction.
Right.
And we can and we'll certainly consider that. We're definitely looking at this deal is getting worse all the time. Battle deployment, Diplo, and Hunt Down. And I mean, I'll just go ahead and unofficially I'll go ahead and add Court to that list as well. That we would be watching. So if you think that one of those decks is dominant, then play some games and prove it.
Right. Yeah, and I think Diplo is the only light side deck that I would be remotely worried about. Maybe Prophet that would really rise to the top at this point, but I mean,
Prophet's another natural predator for Court.
Right. And with the format the way it is, I mean, you can't ban everything. You ban the top 5 decks each side. You're hoping to hit the tier 1 to tier 1.5 decks and force everybody down to that tier 2 level. But even then, some decks are still going to rise to the top. That's the way the game is designed.
Right. So. And the most important thing is that it's not the same as the open meta.
Right.
It all came out of that old Like My Father Before Me, ROPS, Old Allies map meta
Walkling.
From Walkling, but from whatever from like Worlds 2019, when it was like there are a handful of very, very powerful decks that Light and Dark play, and that is all we see. And if you get rid of those decks, it makes a million other decks viable. I feel like this format isn't as solved as this open format. So
yeah,
it makes it so that there really could be, somebody probably has an Obi-Wan communing deck that is actually really good. Or we'll have one by November or whatever when the event starts.
Well, actually, somebody did have one that was really good back when you could keep adding to your power in battle on GIMP because it wasn't limited.
Repeated.
Yeah, that was a good deck, but I think Diplo is just better than communing Obi in a lot of ways right now. Maybe somebody found something, but the easier thing to do is just play Diplo, in my opinion.
I don't know. I don't think I've actually read all of communing from the beginning to end. It's a long paragraph.
Yeah, it doesn't do what it used to do, so I keep forgetting things that I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. Oh no, that's old communing. That's not new communing.
I keep meaning to learn it because apparently some people played communing at Worlds and it was and they did pretty well with it.
Maybe one or two. Maybe only one or two.
I
was surprised to see more Yoda than Qui-Gon at Worlds.
It depended on the player, I think. Like Qui-Gon communing has a lot more deck manipulation, so it rewards higher player skill in the fact that you can, peek at the top card of your force pile and go, yeah, I want that, so I'll put it on bottom and then draw it with Rey immediately. Or, you can use Qui-Gon's text to draw it. You have a lot of options there to draw cards from your force pile and manipulate draws, and then you don't have to, spend time trying to find key cards by just looking at your deck and drawing up when you see cards in there. Being able to shuffle cards around top to bottom, draw with Rey, draw with Qui-Gon, you're getting a lot of free draws that you don't have to do during your draw phase. And
Seems
Yoda,
powerful.
3PO.
yeah, and then 3PO and stuff. And then Yoda has, really good activation to start off with. And so for players that didn't feel as comfortable manipulating their force pile and drawing cards, you got a quick start with your activation, and you could end up deploying really quick and starting the damage clock. It's kind of like that old 2/2, deck that we used to have that would go first and just drop Yoda to the what was it, the bar?
Nightclub.
Yeah, nightclub, and just start draining for 2, 3, 4, whatever they could, and putting the pressure on you really fast to get you to do something.
Batmouse, let's be honest, it was a bar. They might have called it a nightclub. It was a bar. I saw that place.
Saw
It was
random
it was not very
dancing,
classy.
and there was paraphernalia and death sticks.
Yeah, exactly. There was literally a drug dealer in there. It was a bar.
It's a nightclub.
No, that's
Every
why.
nightclub I've ever been into has had at least one drug dealer, and if you haven't had that experience, let us know.
Yeah, that's why the First Light one is considered a bars, because that's the the alleyway, dark alley behind the back, hey, shady kind of bar. That's the First Light one. Whereas the nightclub, no, that's the fancy drug spot that you can get to. So
That's the recreational stuff, not
Right.
the I need a fix spot.
right.
Okay.
So also, while we're on topic for the Jawa Cup, registration is open right now. All you have to do is email. Where is it? I think it's just email swccgjawacup@gmail.com by November 14th. And you'll just get signed up. Right now, there are at least 25 people signed up because they haven't added me on there yet. And I sent that in today. And you're not going to be committed to the same decks for all 6 rounds. So you can swap out games, you can swap out decks. You don't have to choose the same thing. You can make your decisions literally when you sit down if you want to. It's a very casual event that will get really good prize support from the PC. Some of it has already been announced by Jared. There is a premier white bordered Darkside Rare uncut sheet to first place, a sealed EPP Luke pack to second, a sealed Tatooine booster pack to one of the each top of 30 people, which we will be going past 30 people signing up, I imagine. So
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
These Jawa
Absolutely.
events always have like freaking 90 people sign up for them.
right, so you might have to go 500 or better to get that, but 30 is still a lot for a sealed, to be able to get a pack.
Well, and people have to, people drop and people,
Right.
you can.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but still, that's they're giving away Tatooine booster packs. Those are worth I don't know, but you can open them and have them all.
I bet Brian Frey would know.
Yeah.
If you play all 6 of your games of the Jawa Cup, you get the black alien poker chip. If you make top 8, you'll get a purple one. If you play all 6 of your games, you get the GIMP AI booster pack, which is super awesome to be able to get the AIs for some of the cards on GIMP instead of having to play with the original pictures. And then you get a Sedan Ethano foil V-slip to everybody that plays all games in the Swiss as well. So your participation prize in this is to play all 6 games, apparently. So hopefully nobody drops, because if you do, you won't get anything unless Jared just decides to be nice, which can happen, but you should play all 6 anyway. It's a fun event. So
Star Wars people, more Star Wars.
yeah,
Need to play more.
yeah, for sure.
That Mouse is right. It's one game a week.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to schedule it, but that's not that bad.
No, and I mean it's one game a week from now until February 6th. Or sorry, from November 15th to February 6th. So we do have Thanksgiving in there, which will be fun again. Hopefully it won't affect anybody's actual scheduling of a game, but it could.
Bring your laptop to the table.
Right. I was like, bring your laptop, bring your iPad. Don't play on your phone, but bring something.
Play on my phone. Bring your stuff anyway, whether you're participating, you get a game scheduled there or not. It's a holiday. Mouse gives you plenty of leagues to play in, plenty of games to play on holidays. Because some of us maybe don't like our family. I'll sit in the corner and play on my phone and eat turkey.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing is you could be like, okay, I had dinner with you guys. It was really nice seeing you, but I've got this Star Wars card game that I need to play. It's a scheduled thing. It's an appointment. It was the only time we were available was exactly when you guys came into town. I'm really sorry. I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do with work when I'd work in restaurants. I'd be like, I know that my family eats Thanksgiving dinner at 1. Can you schedule me to start at 2? And then I can be like, have dinner with them. And it's like, yes, this was a nice 45 minutes that I spent with you guys. See you in 2 years. It was a good strategy. So.
Oh no, COVID is around again. We're in the new variant. Time to go back to the house and play some Star Wars.
Oh no. Whatever shall we do?
That's true. And if you're on Zoom,
right.
if you're on Zoom, meaning with your extended family on Thanksgiving, and your uncle is saying some racist stuff, and your grandma doesn't know how to use the Zoom and stuff, and they're all figuring stuff out, you can in your other window be playing your Gemp game.
Right.
You're already on your computer on Zoom.
Yeah, I would not recommend playing on the phone. I had a hell of a time trying to get my decks done for Worlds on my phone. I can't imagine actually playing on it, but
just Padawan. It gets better. It gets better. I play from my phone literally all day, every day.
Yeah, I need bigger. I'm blind. I'm old. I'm older than both of you guys. So when you get to this age, you start losing your vision, and you need big screens. You can't do this little 4-inch screen. So, but yeah, there shouldn't be really any reason for anybody not to sign up and play. Worst case, if you can't make a week, you could always just concede to your opponent for that week and keep going. And there's also bonus prizes that Bill said for anybody that beats anyone of the Jawa Council. So that would be Eric Hunter, Kendall, and Taco Bill himself.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So
I think I beat you at the summer one that had that on there, if I remember correctly.
Some people beat me. Actually, the Jawa Brawl, I actually didn't even get my 12 games in. Like I was a mess this summer.
I think I got to 7 or 8. I don't think I got all 12 in.
Yeah.
I was close. I was close to the top. The summer Jawa Brawl, but I don't think I could get there.
Yeah, I think I lost to like 3 games, and and then I played at the end because I forgot. I thought the event ended July 15th or around my birthday, and then turns out no, it's still going for 2 weeks, and I totally forgot about it until Kendall posted, "Hey, you have your last
45 days."
Yeah, you have your last week to play, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And so I tried to start scheduling games, and everybody was pretty much done by that point, and I just missed out. And I was like, "All right, well."
Yeah, I think that's what happened with me. Was it? That's the problem with it being 45 days and only 12 games. Like we make it that long so that people can kind of take their time.
Right.
But then people still play all their games in the first week.
Yeah.
And the people that wait till later, it's harder for them to get a game in. Yeah.
Well,
so
I wouldn't have.
To be something I'll have to consider.
I had 2 weeks where I was going to play games. I just thought the event was over, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I missed it. And then, like I said, you posted probably in Slack going, hey, this is the last week. And I was just like, oh, crap. I thought this was over already. So made it a little tough. But yeah,
you can always play like 60 games in Jawa's in Love if I run the same rules as I did last year.
Yeah, I don't know if I can play 60 games of Star Wars. I'm not like Timo and Paul and some of those guys like Batmouse that just play. To be honest, I didn't even really want to play at Worlds. I was trying to let them talk me out of playing and helping run the event. And
I was there for that conversation.
yeah. I'm like, please, here, look, I'll happily drop and help you guys out. It's not a big deal to me whatsoever. And then of
And
course,
casually top 8s.
yeah, then 1-2 run the table, top 8s. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
stranger things happen. So but yeah, like I said, everybody should get on there. There's going to be lots of prize support for it. It's free. There is no sign up. It should. Oh, I guess it's. I don't know if it'll qualify technically for the local tournament
Player of the year?
weekend. Well, no, there's the local tournament
Yeah,
weekend.
no,
is
local tournament weekend in November
Well, it's the
15th
online.
through 22nd.
Yeah, it's the online
So
play now.
it does count. It does count for the online dealie. It was the online play week.
Okay.
Local tournament weekend is getting pushed
Right.
until
February.
next year.
Yeah, so
February.
this year between yeah. So let's see. The 2022 online play week will take place from November 12th through the 21st. So you will have roughly 6 days after the 15th to qualify for that with this. And then they said the local tournament weekend gets bumped till next year, like Kendall said. So we'll get more information on that as things come up. So I think the last thing we really need to touch on is the Match Play Championship. That's coming up in January in New Jersey. I talked to Taco Bill today. He said that the sign-ups and registration should go up as soon as they announce the COVID policy. They're going to have an updated COVID policy for this event. And once they get that all hammered out, which should be hopefully soon, they'll get the sign-ups and registration links going for the NPC. It will be the 21st through 23rd, though, of January in, I think, Princeton, Trenton, New Brunswick, one of those cities. I don't know.
Logan.
Yeah, I mean, it's New Jersey. It's not that big.
Right.
You fly into Newark, you take a train where they tell you to go, and you get off and you walk to the hotel.
And then we just drink in the hotel all weekend long.
Yeah.
It's what we do.
I'm sure Bill's in the chat telling New Brunswick. So
Oh, there it is.
yeah, I don't know New Jersey cities. The whole state fits in like a county in my state, so who knows. But yeah, it is at a different hotel than the previous years. So for newcomers, that's probably not a problem. For people like me that went once every blue moon, I probably couldn't remember the one hotel from another one, to be honest. I'm just going to pull up a map on my phone that tells me, hey, go this way to get to where you want to go. But anybody who's been there before, it is a new hotel. It's basically right down the street. And I don't think it's a Hyatt this year. I think it's something different because Casey was mad that he wasn't going to be able to use his Hyatt Reward Elite status to get a suite by himself or something. So
Yeah. He told me about that, and I'm like, that is brilliant. That is brilliant. Paying for 5 nights and staying like 40 nights in Hyatts all year long.
yeah,
that'll work. That works for me.
yeah. I mean, if you can get those perks, it really helps. I know, like the KTOD years ago would get cheap hotels through one of their parents, or they had a connection, and so they would always book at that same hotel to get the better rooms, even though it was further away. But to me, I like staying in the same hotel because it's easier to walk up to your room at 3 o'clock in the morning, drunk and not, lack of sleep messing you up. So, it's at the, what is it? The Heldrick is what it's called. That's what he posted. Looks nice. So, but yeah, we'll get a room block and everything posted hopefully in the next week, and people can start registering. I don't know about you guys, but Greg Shaw, I think, talked me into playing, so I guess I will be going to this event now too. My flight is like $130. Can't complain.
I may show up. It's conveniently timed the weekend before my wife's birthday.
Huh?
So
An early birthday present, a trip to New Jersey.
trip to New Jersey, and maybe we'll go see Hamilton if it's showing.
Yeah.
That'll work. That might get the job done.
I assume it's probably a similar drive for you, Kendall.
It looks like 8 hours 19 minutes. So it's about which translated from Google, that means about 11-hour drive for Grandpa Kendall. Yeah, so that'll be something. I'll have to.
How long did it take you to
consider
get to DC?
So to get to DC, it took about 10 hours. To get home from DC, it was more like 9 hours. My sister, who lives in DC, says it takes 8 hours, and Siri says it takes 6.5 hours.
Okay.
So that's your
so
gauge there.
It's probably a little further for you to go to Jersey than DC then.
Yeah, it's further, but not impossible.
I don't think the
I could
hotel
just
has
fly a plane.
I don't think the hotel has as big of a scam on parking if you do that this time. So
yeah, that's true. I can't park at my sister's house if it's in New Jersey.
well, I mean, you could. You just would have to fly from DC to Jersey then.
That's an 8-hour drive for you. It's almost enough time for me to get to, I don't know, San Francisco. Still in the same state, by the way. How many? That would be what, crossing 6 states for you?
No, because Pennsilvania is
like really long.
Pennsylvania is the width of Russia, so basically it looks like the trip is I'm in Ohio and then I'm in Pennsylvania and then I'm in New Jersey.
Yeah, that right into New Jersey from Pennsylvania. That I went on vacation there earlier this year, and Pennsylvania, New Jersey, back and forth. Oh, cool! Like 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
Let's go from Pennsylvania through New Jersey into New York in under an hour. Sure, why not?
Well, Taco Bill says it's $25 a day parking, so never mind. It's
okay.
Not as cheap.
Well,
or not as expensive, but it's not.
At
cheap.
least I know now.
Right.
The issue with the parking was that I didn't know until like a week before, and it totally threw off my budgeting for the whole event.
Right.
And also, I had less money than I thought I would, so that also
sense.
threw off my budgeting. Spending money that I had budgeted for the event on things other than the event,
right,
that messes up my budget.
Right.
Math, that's how math works. If you have this much money or if you think you're going to have this much money and then actually you have this much money.
Right.
That's
yeah. Well, I mean, if you do end up flying in, the train system is great. It's like $5-10, I don't remember. It's not too much. And it takes you literally 2-3 blocks away from where the hotel is.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad. The only bad side would be walking outside in Jersey if you arrive early in the morning or late at night.
I mean, I drove to Minneapolis. I could drive to New Jersey.
Yeah, I can't drive to either of these places, so I think 8 hours depending.
So there's also a 15-hour Greyhound that I could take.
That sounds like an even better time. God, I couldn't imagine doing a 15-hour Greyhound. Ugh. I mean,
man. I took a Greyhound from California to Ohio back however many years ago that was. Took 3 days. It's like they stop every 3 hours. You have to like change buses, and I was moving, so I had like a bunch of bags and boxes and things. It was a bit of a nightmare, but I did get to see the whole country.
Yeah,
because he was driving through it.
Most of the country. You didn't see the East Coast, but yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the East Coast.
Fair. Being in Texas,
I saw parts of the country I usually wouldn't have.
Being in Texas,
right, so
I've seen
Texas.
Swing
and a miss?
Yeah, I guess we can do that real quick. I didn't have a lot for the swing and a miss. It's not up to Dan's standards, but I don't really know who is up to Dan's standards, so we'll just run with it. First swing and a miss. The top light side deck for the Jawa event will be no idea.
I think that's a miss. I'm thinking either Diplo or Profit are the two. I think are the two front runners for light side.
Batmouse?
I also say miss, but I'm leaning towards like OB communing, showing up and really being what we can do things with this now. Yeah, OB communing is probably where I would say.
I think it's going to be popular. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think No Idea will be a popular deck. It depends on who plays it, whether it'll be a top deck or not. Um, but yeah, I don't. I think it'll be a miss. I think Diplo will probably see more play, um, just because it was a deck I was looking at for Worlds to play, and I assume a lot of other people were, and it just didn't make the cut because of how poorly it did against like Map and Shadow Collective and things that we've now removed from the format. So,
but also No Idea doesn't have a great matchup against Court.
Right, and it. I know people have teched for it and have made it a little bit better, but it's definitely not insane of a matchup for them at all. But I don't think it's as bad as it used to be for them. I think people have changed No Idea to make it a little bit better in that matchup. And also, if Court disappears because everybody starts playing Prophet and Diplo guts at the beginning, then maybe No Idea starts to look good. But let's see. Question 2. The top dark side Jawa deck will be Court.
That's a hit. That's a hit. I think that Court. The thing about Court is that it's a deck that people will play even when it's bad. I do think that I probably think that Court was hurt by its errata more than a lot of people. The errata to the Space Cruiser and Ellis, and to a lesser extent Ponda Baba. I think the sort of the total the collective the combination of all three of those errata makes Court's space not as dominant as it was before. Fortunately, Y40 isn't an issue, but it just isn't. I'm still not comfortable with Court right now. But I do think a lot of people will play it. It's just a matter of whether it'll be dominant. And yeah, I mean, Prophet is a very obvious choice for light side that Court loses to Prophet. Like, that's, in the rock paper scissors of the history of the world,
right?
Court loses to Prophet. Like, that's whether it's
that's just a thing.
Yeah, whether it's 60-40 or 70-30 or 80-20. Yeah, it's going to be it's a thing. So yeah,
that's going to be a miss. I've got a couple decks in mind. Verge looks great. Just Maul SSA decks. I feel like Court isn't going to be threatening because mains is still a thing. OB communing, it's still going to be a thing. I don't feel like Court's gonna be strong enough, survive enough. Feel like people will move off of it rather quick.
Right, because you can change your deck. So you lose your first game with Court, you're like, oh well, I better change to something else. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think it's a miss, but I think it's a miss because Darkside has a lot of options. You can have Hunt Down, Set Your Course, Verge, even something like ASM might see some play in this format. You have a lot more flexibility than, even ROPS, I guess, and things of that nature. You have more flexibility here with Dark than you do with Light, and it means Court has to compete with a lot more dex choices rather than just the light side RPS that it could come in. Like if you're seeing a lot of No Idea, then you'll go to Court, but if you're seeing Prophet or mains, you don't want to be Court, and so that might scare people off to play something like Hunt Down or ROPS or Set Your Course or something that doesn't have
Droids.
Yeah, they don't have that bad matchup. I mean, people could even end up playing the invasion list that Amar played at Worlds. That,
They list.
yeah. There's just a lot of options for Darkseid that I think Court isn't always the best one. I do think it'll see play because it's one people know. I think almost everybody's got a Court list on GIMP at some point, so it's really easy not to have to think for a week and go, what do I want to play? Oh, I'll just load up Court and play that. But I definitely think there are other Darkseid decks that are probably better.
It's so fun too. Like,
Eh,
I'd
rather.
Oh man.
I enjoy Hunt Down, but
I mean, Huntdown's fun. Don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know. I don't feel like I've ever felt bad playing with or against Court. I mean, there was a time. There have been times when like I get a little tired of it, like of seeing other people, never me playing it. But like there was, I think right after Proxima came out, there was a stretch where like literally everybody was playing Court on GEMP and you couldn't find anything else.
yeah.
But other than that, man, Court's such a great deck because it's interactive. It has threats, but also you can outplay it. It's got strengths. It's got weaknesses.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess every deck has strengths and weaknesses, but it doesn't like lock down the board like some decks do. And it also doesn't, like, you don't play it and you're like, if you lose to Court, you know why you lost.
Yeah, it's because the game grinded out and they have retrieval, I have retrieval, and we sat there and stared at each other for 45 minutes. So
yeah, that isn't my experience playing Court.
Luckily, we have timers that will prevent the sit each other until the end of time.
Yeah, when Court got big again, I was playing QMC. So QMC has a lot of retrieval, Court has a lot of retrieval, and we sat there, and I also had a gift in my QMC, so it made Court have to find more answers. And I don't think DeRoe was out at the time. Maybe he was, but...
that was... Okay, so that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was, but he wasn't seeing as much play, maybe. I know Kessling probably had it in his list, but there was one Mini Worlds where Kessling and I played QMZ versus Court, and we went to time, and he had 32, and I had like 30 left in reserve. I mean, we were retrieving, and it just was not going to end a game anytime soon. But
I would say so I'm going to caveat that. I'm going to say the version of like Court since Proxima has come out.
Yeah.
I think that the Twilight Advisor and Proxima, like that, like those two cards revolutionized the deck, and that version of the deck that's been popular since then. I mean, you get Doomstacky a little bit when you're Doomstack versus Doomstack, but I feel like somebody always wins.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about retrieval. I almost never pay for the retrieval in my Court deck. I'm almost never actually retrieving with Scum because I'm playing all my cards to win at the site.
That's fair.
I mean, I'll retrieve. There are times when it's correct to retrieve. Don't get me wrong, and doing the hit and run strategy and stuff in certain things. But like a lot of times with the deck, you're just putting up just all the cards. Proxima into another card, pull another card, retrieve a card with Jabba's Haven, initiate battle. I draw 17 Destiny.
They're all 1s and 2s and 3s.
No, they're not, because I got Proxima pulled all the characters out, so they're all 5s.
Well, then you only have like 2 cards left in your deck. You don't have 17.
You're running like 7 cards at that point, so you're 23 characters and go, and then... Yeah.
All right.
It's so great. It's so great.
Let's go to Swing and a Miss 3. One of
Swing and a Miss. Court is the best deck. Hit.
Miss. One of Justin, Bastion, or Joe will win the OCS. Out of the 16 people, the 3 people with multiple world championships to their name. So I guess it's my turn to start on this one.
Yeah.
If you were asking me as a betting man to take them or the field, I would take them. So to me, it's a hit, but I think, everybody in the OCS can win. But if I'm betting, I'm not going to bet against... Honestly, I don't really want to bet against any one of those 3. they've won multiple world championships. They've had multiple top 8s of world championships. Joe's won every event for the last 10 years, whatever it's been. I don't know. COVID has made things take a little bit longer. But, yeah, I mean, to me, I would bet on one of those 3 to win.
Okay, so my pick is Bastion. So, I mean, that's a hit because I bet on the 3, blah, blah, blah. But Bastion didn't get to go to Worlds. He wasn't happy about it. He's got something to prove. And he's the best Star Wars card player of all time. So between those 2 things, I think he's the favorite for the win.
Yeah, I mean, he did call out Joe for a reason. So, I'm betting he called out Joe because he wants to prove something that he's still the best at the top. Just because he hasn't been able to play he didn't get to play this Worlds. He's got that chip on his shoulder. But
right, and last year's Worlds was
weird.
Was weird.
Yeah.
I think, but it's a combination of the 2 things because I do think that Bastion is the best Star Wars card player, at least the best Star Wars card player playing right now, because Johnny Chu's been retired for a little while, and I haven't played directly with him since I knew what I was talking about. But Bastion is such a great player that he will take like a freaking introductory 2-player game deck to he'll play that in a league game and beat me. That's an exaggeration, but I mean he like will literally play like a non-unique aliens, my kind of scum deck,
right,
in an open format league and kick some butt. So if he's already like at that good at that particular level, maybe playing a deck that is not optimal, if he's got something to prove, and that means he's going to play his absolute best, I think that he's the favorite here.
Yeah.
I agree to the extent that there are 3 of the best players literally in the world playing Star Wars cards right now. Amp is playing online is a different kind of beast. Bastion has proved that he can win. Joe has proved that he can win. I'm going to say it's a hit. I really wanted to be the dissenting member of the board. But those are 3 great players, and I like that Bastion has a bit of a chip on his shoulder this year.
Yeah. And I mean, Desai also, for the record, Desai also, I've heard, is pretty good at Star Wars cards.
Yeah.
I included him, but
yeah.
But
I guess I didn't.
I didn't talk about Desai because I should have talked about Desai since Robbie talked about Joe and you talked about Bastion.
Yeah.
And Desai won last year, right?
I don't remember. He was up there.
I think Desai won last year.
But Desai also has a chip on his shoulder since he bubbled out at Worlds. He was 9th and missed out on the top 8. So
bubbled at Nationals too.
Yeah, and he bubbled at Nationals. So the 2 in-person events this year, he's he hasn't top 8'd, and I know he's going to prepare and be ready for this event to do his best. So with 6 world championships between 3 people, I don't know how you can bet against one of those 3, especially when 2 of them have chips on their shoulders, and one of them is riding a hot streak that few have seen. So, but
yeah, I would say Bastion over Joker King in the finals. That's my pick.
So the last swing and a miss is, and I'm gonna amend this a little bit because I think it's a little bit easy as it is. There will be a double-digit seed in the top 4. I had it as the top 8, but I think that's a little bit too easy. So we'll do top 4.
Hit.
So that means Worfs, Joker King, Stubley, Gavin, Brad Kipple, Tom, or Joe are in the top 4.
It's a hit. It's a hit. Easy.
Yeah.
Slam dunk.
Joker
Walk
King.
away from it.
He's got it. He's Joker King over Dylan. Joker King over Desai, Joker King over B. Fred, Bastion over Joker King. That's my
Well, I mean,
pick for that half of the bracket.
I picked Joe to win it. So obviously, I think there will be a double-digit seed all the way through. You know,
And sweep.
yeah, I mean, it'll be, you know, I picked Joker King and Worfs to go pretty far. So, you know, either I'm really smoking something picking the 16 and 15 seed, or, you know, we're gonna see some kind of chaos because of the reseeding done here. But
Yeah, and I mean Joe being
15?
15. I would pick Bastion over Joe, but I'm usually wrong about things. So if Joe can beat Bastion, then Joe's gonna go all the way. Like that's gonna be
yeah, like Joe and
that's
Joe and Bastion. I mean that game's a coin flip, in my opinion. I mean Joe's on a hot streak. Bastion's got a chip on his shoulder beyond belief, I'm sure. You know, Bastion really does want to be known as one of the best in the world, and I mean, I don't.
Bastion's such a nice guy, though. I feel like he can't have like a full blown chip on his shoulder.
He does want to be known as the best in the world, but he already is.
He wants to win. He wants to win. He doesn't like Star Wars. He only likes the game.
And he doesn't really have anything to prove. I mean, he's already one of the best to play the game. I mean, he won in.
No, that's true.
He won in 2001, and he won 19 years later. So, but yeah, that should be everything I had for Swing and a Miss. So, we are going to go ahead and get out of here and see you guys next week. Where I don't know if Dan will be ready. Hopefully, he's recovering pretty well and isn't, out partying with a neck brace on. He needs to relax, but.
He's only trying to trade away all of his good players in fantasy football.
I think he said that he would be out this week and next week.
Yeah,
so,
and if he feels good, he can come on. If not, we've got plans, so it's not a big deal. We'll have it covered either way. But yeah, we will see you guys next week.
Get healthy, Dan. Get healthy.
Yeah, get well, Dan. We miss you on the Holotheatre. It's a lot of work, and I don't know what I'm doing. So come back soon. Come back healthy. And take over again because I'm scared. So, anyways, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks to Kendall and thanks to Bat Mouse for jumping on with me this week. Really appreciate it, guys. We're out.